Hi, my name is Jason Bunn-Parsons. I'm the director of the Autism Ambassadors Corps, and this month we're starting a series of meetings on autistic Aspie social skills. Okay, and this is basically how autism is defined. First and foremost is is how we socialize. We tend to have difficulties in socialization. Okay, and so so that's going to be the main point. And okay, here's my okay. Yes, I will be talking about why I just had trouble finding my remote later. Anyways, okay. So my number one point of emphasis about Autistics, Aspies, okay, is we are first and foremost human beings. Okay, and I bring this up because people get so focused on our deficits that they don't recognize any other, that they don't even recognize that we are human beings. I remember years ago, I was on one of these Facebook pages, and this mom asked, what she should give her autistic son for athlete's foot, and I had to walk away from my computer. It's like, he's still a human being. Just because he got this diagnosis, that doesn't mean you take everything you ever learned about a human being and throw it in the trash. Okay, and seriously, I had to walk away from my computer so I didn't type to that parents what was going through my head, because I probably would have hurt her feelings, And so, anyways, Autistics, Aspies have, as all human beings do, the same inherent needs, wants, and desires. We just have unique challenges in getting them met. Okay? B, we have the right to our own unique individual selves, to set boundaries, to follow a path of our own choosing contingent upon our abilities and maturity. And so, yes, I realize that there are a lot of autistics are more severely affected than I am, and even though that I can live by myself, some of them, that they have to live with under guardianship their entire life. And so, but for those of us who don't, okay, we have a right to choose a path that makes the most out of who we are. Okay, we have the right to object when someone makes an assessment of us that we believe to be erroneous. And I don't want to elaborate on this because I'm also an autistic self-advocate, and I don't want to go into a lot of what I'm alluding to. But all I'll say is the autistic self-advocacy community has a lot of grievances towards the status quo, for the way they present us to the public. And again, I don't want to get into that because it would completely derail the conversation from what I actually want to talk about today, which is the science. Okay? Okay. 2, just because the way society treats us makes us feel a certain way about ourselves, that doesn't make it true. And before I got diagnosed at the age of 40, back when I was 20, I was part of a general purpose 12-step program in which I went there for codependency, and so I knew a number of ladies there that were domestic abuse victims, and they were still in their abusive situation, and because their abusive spouse was telling them, oh, you're so ugly, you're so stupid, you can't make it on your own, and convincing them they had no choice but to stay in this relationship because they can't survive, without them. And the fact is that it was a lie, that these ladies were just as intelligent as anybody else, but as long as that they believed that about themselves, they were never going to make progress. And in the same way, autistics are made to feel a certain way about themselves. And in other words, we are not born on the wrong planet. This is what a lot of autistics feel like. That doesn't mean they literally believe that they should have been born on Vulcan. Although they do identify with Leonard Nimoy's portrayal of Spock a lot of them refer to him as their hero. One, I actually heard refer to him as her role model because he was very much the stereotypical autistic, as far as how he behaved. And but the thing is, we're not born on the wrong planet. Okay, just because our peers treated us like we are outcasts and misfits, that doesn't mean that we are. Okay, and so three, this is completely contrary to the status quo view of autism Asperger's. The web pages of the major autism organizations explain that explain what autism is. Okay, the first is Southwest Autism Research and Resource Center. Okay, and they are the most prominent source for information about autism in Arizona. And a friend of mine, Beth Coble, she's now a psychiatric RA that works at Aurora Behavioral Health. She's known me since July 1996. Okay, 13 years before I got diagnosed with autism. And so she went and she read this, and she was extremely displeased with how negative it was, especially knowing me, knowing that, yeah, I do have my issues, and the report that we have, she can tell me straight up, if confront me about various issues, but she read this and she was extremely displeased about just how incredibly negative it was. Okay, Autism Society of America. Okay, the original Autism Self-Advocacy organization founded in 1967. Okay, just look at the web links I'm providing and judge for yourself if there's anything positive that they have to say about us. Okay, Autism Speaks, National Autism Association. Okay, and just read for yourself. Whether or not my complaint is legitimate. If these people spend all their time talking about all of our deficits to the point that they don't talk about anything but our deficits. Okay, and this is a major problem. Okay, then 3B, the status quo view of autism Asperger's cherry picks Dr. Connor's original 1943 paper focusing solely on our struggles while ignoring the strengths that he observed. Okay, and okay, one more. Okay, there we go. Okay. Okay, 8 of the 11 children acquired the ability to speak either at an unusual age or after some delay. There were, with the exception of John F., capable of clearly articulation and phenomenization. I don't know, this is fancy psychology term. Anyways, naming of objects presented no difficulties. Even long-term and unusual words were learned and retained with remarkable faculty. Almost all the parents reported unusual with much pride that their children had learned at an early age to repeat an inordinate number of nursery rhymes, prayers, lists of animals, rosters of presidents, alphabets forwards and backwards, even foreign language French lullabies. Okay, and so this was presented back in 1943. Where is anything like this on these websites? Okay, and this is what I'm getting at as far as them completely omitting our strengths. Because they are so wrapped up on our deficits, even though Dr. Connor was pointing out these strengths however many years ago. I don't want to figure out the math on that, but anyways. Okay, and it destroys our self-confidence and self-esteem, causing many to assume that second and third parties must solve all of our problems and clean up all of our messes. Okay, and Jobs Accommodations Network, which is affiliated with the Department of Labor, okay, did a accommodations sheets, pamphlets, for employees with the autism spectrum disorder, okay, advising employers on how to meet their needs, okay, and then and before that was the 2008 based on the DSM-4, okay, which really there's no meaningful difference between the DSM-4 and the DSM-5. Everybody made a big stink out of it. It was really about nothing. All they did is swap around labels. Nobody was declared normal as a result of going from the DSM-4 to the DSM-5. But anyways, and when you read through here, it makes it that it's very clear to me that they think that second and third parties have to solve all our problems. There's no mention about us, learning how to, solve the environmental problems. And so I'll go ahead and lay them out here, and I've got the links that, for those who want to look them up. But anyways, assumes that we can never succeed in various areas of life, including developing social skills, and resigned to living our life deprived of what we truly want for ourselves. And where do I come up, saying this stuff? By actually sitting with other autistics and listening to what they come to believe about themselves. Autistic adults, from their 20s to their 60s, and what they actually believe about themselves. Oh, we never said that. Well, the thing is, the autistics are interpreting what you're saying in this manner, okay? And so, so if we want to succeed, in any area, including social skills, the first thing we have to do is we have to believe in ourselves. We have to actually like ourselves, because if we don't like ourselves, how are we going to convince somebody else to like us, okay? And so, anyway, so moving on to the science of social skills. Okay, the status quo view versus mine regarding the neuroscience of autism. The status quo, tries to teach trigonometry to kindergartners. In other words, they speak way over the heads of the audience. Okay, they go into these deep concepts. And I remember my first conference back in 2010, the speakers there could have been plotting my murder right in front of me, and I wouldn't have had a clue what they were talking about, because it was all over my head. And there's so much other things that we could be discussing that is within the comprehension level of the average person. Why not talk about that instead of all these stuff that people can't actually understand? Okay, now as far as the researchers, okay, I understand that they, that they need to be having these discussions. But if you're doing a general audience discussion on these, on this subject, you need to talk to the audience. Okay, just like you're not going to teach trigonometry to kindergartners. You shouldn't be, anyways. Oh, okay. 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 Enough with that remote. I'm going to have to go with this one here, because that the one's causing me too many problems. Okay. Okay. Let me slide. Okay. Okay. Okay, is so focused on causes, cures, and treatments that few see the value in those who offer nothing more than root-level insights. Okay, and so, basically, let me go on to, when I teach, I focus exclusively on what enables us to develop strategies for dealing with our day-to-day struggles, okay? Some cure or treatment that might become available in 5 to 10 years isn't going to do me a bit of good 5 to 10 minutes from now. I need to know right now, what can I do right now to improve my quality of life, okay? This is what I focus on, is what can help right now. I do keep tabs on this other stuff, but when I teach I teach on what's going to help me right now. Okay, Dr. Woodruff, okay, is a neurologist who specializes in geriatric conditions that got involved with the autistic community for personal reasons back in 2012, and he and so I should have mentioned this before I started this section. He critiqued this material to make sure that it was consistent with the consensus science. There's no such thing as unanimous science, because I don't care how much evidence you produce. Somebody's going to say, everything ever been taught's wrong, believe what I say, forget everything else. But anyways, as far as consensus science, okay, everything that I'm going to present is within consensus science. Okay, it's my understanding of what Dr. Woodruff has told me is that most of what we hear or read in press releases, as well as what is presented at conferences and seminars that are open to the general public, are sales pitches designed to get financial support more than research. And he told me this shortly after I met him. I found that this article talking about the latest advances in brain scanning. Okay, and I firmly believe that this is that the only way we'll ever be able to do 100% accurate diagnosing of autism. Okay, like Todd, your son is 19 and he's just now getting diagnosed, and like I said, well, by today's standards, that's a late diagnosis. How did he manage to get all the way through school without getting diagnosed? And now he's on his first job, and now he's having these issues, and the only way that we will have 100% accurate diagnosis is to have brain scanning technology being such where a standard medical checkup will include the brain scan that will allow the doctors to tell not only that there's autistic neurology, but also what specific areas of the brain. Okay, oh look, your child's speech area is not developing, so okay, your child isn't going to be developing speech as late. Okay, 6 months later, oh look, your child's speech language center has developed. Okay, it's possible now he might be able to develop language. Okay, this is the kind of technology that I want, and I'm telling Dr. Woodruff this, and he's got this daydream look like, oh yes, he as somebody who works with dementia, Alzheimer's, stuff like that, he would love to have a tool that could be that precise, but unfortunately we're not that close. And so when I'm reading this article, it was getting me all excited that, we're getting closer, and Dr. Woodruff's like, no, we're getting closer, but there's still issues, because he got the actual reports themselves, not the press release, but the actual reports, scanned the reports, like, okay, there's some things they're not telling you, okay? It's not that they're lying, it's that they're putting their best foot forward and just telling you the good stuff, okay? And so just be patient. That's all I can do, is be patient, and a lot of parents need to understand this, okay? They go to a conference, they learn the latest cutting-edge theory about what might be true, and they're all telling me, oh, you're out of date, you're out of date. It's like, well, wait a minute. I'm not going to be changing my material every 2 to 3 years, because what they're saying might be true today might be disproved in 2 to 3 years as they move on to their next theory, okay? So you need to understand that, cutting-edge theories, have not actually been proven. And this isn't a criticism of the system, okay? It is a matter of fact, the United States is a capitalist society, and this is how we know how capitalist societies run. You need to raise money. And how do you raise money for research? You do sales pitches, to anybody that can give you the money. So it is what it is. Just understand what it is, and don't get too carried away, with the latest theories about what might be true. Just chill. Anyways, the neurology of autism. Okay. Definition of autism. Now, this definition I wrote myself. It is consistent 100% with consensus science, and I will warn you, there are some big words in here, but I'll explain. Okay. Autism is an atypical neurological connectivity paradox that results in heightened activity in some areas of the brain and decreased activities in other areas compared to non-autistic individuals. Okay, so what does atypical mean? 9 out of 10 individuals are similar in range of development as well as in completing certain routine tasks, problem solving, socialization, etc. The 10th individual is atypical. Okay, is this person, does that mean that they're disabled, or does it mean they're a prodigy? Okay, just because they're atypical, judge them by the results, not by the fact that they're being atypical. Okay, neurological connectivity, and this is where we can get so deep that even my head would implode, because I can't even understand, all the ins and outs of it. But basically, the simple explanation of this autism Asperger's is neurological outgroup. Oh shoot, this is terrible grammar. Involving neural connectivity issues. Okay, and our neural connectivity is atypical. And again, so this is where you get into synapses and all the connections of the brain. And Dr. Woodruff could come in here and implode your brains by giving you the full rundown. If you want, I can ask him to see if he'd like to come and do that. But anyways, yes, this is where autism gets really complicated, is if you really want to know all the ins and outs of this. Okay?
Question for you? Now,
Go ahead.
I know it's a spectrum disorder. Everyone doesn't fit a certain spot in the exact same way.
I'm about to get here. That's the reason why I use the term paradox, not spectrum. Okay? The paradox of autism can result in autistics being extremely gifted in some areas and extremely inept in others. The struggles autistics deal with are often aggravated by people who do not accept that autism is a paradox focusing solely on one aspect of autism while refusing to acknowledge the paradoxical opposite. Now, me as a high-functioning autistic, as they like to call me, okay, that they people know that they see how good I know. Pastor Fechner, he can tell you about my ability to recite scripture off the top of my head during Sunday morning Bible study. And so yeah, so people will see that, and then they will see me struggle at some other area, and no, this cannot be legitimate. Okay, you have to be faking it because you are just too smart, and show too much ability in this area. You cannot possibly be having this much trouble in this such simple area. Okay, and so that's one of the difficulties that I have as a higher functioning autistic. Meanwhile, lower functioning autistics, okay, yeah, that they may be struggling, but at the same time, they may, you may wind up overlooking, that their strengths, and in case of jobs, a lot of times my employer only sees the struggles, especially, when I was talking, before the meeting, about my experience working in construction, as a carpenter, electrician, fast foods and stuff like that. Okay, my motor coordination skills are absolutely horrible. Okay, and so what would happen, is that I could not keep up with industry standards. Okay, and so I would lose a lot of jobs. However, on the other hand, I would occasionally have these supervisors that saw me as somebody that would work anytime asked. I would work overtime. I would come in on my days off, and so they saw me by this very specific strength, this work ethic that I had, willing to work. Okay, and so we're talking about the same job, working for the same company. The same electrician company, okay, one supervisor viewed me as completely worthless, another supervisor viewed me as somebody that he can count on anytime he needed somebody to go the extra mile, to do any job asked, never complain about any job, no matter how menial. And and this is the paradox, that we deal with, is what are you going to focus on?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Why what's wrong with the word spectrum?
Well, because it's how the term is applied. Okay, give you a good example is a while back there was some parents of lower functioning autistic children who were bashing on the autistic self-advocates like me because they don't know what it's like to not be to not be able to control your mouth. Like, excuse me, yes I do. Okay, just because I'm verbal, okay, I'm a verbal autistic, that doesn't mean that my ability to control my bowels has nothing to do, these are completely separate functions of the brain. Okay, and yes, I still have some bowel control issues, even to this day, which these issues have changed over the years. Okay, and long story, but anyways, this idea that because I'm verbal and I can fully express myself, that I can't relate to an autistic that can't control their bowels is completely erroneous, and it's because this entire mindset that, we're on a spectrum, I'm high functioning, my child's low functioning, therefore you can't understand anything my child is going through. Okay? Now if you ask a professional, like, no, that's not the proper way of understanding spectrum. Well, the thing is, okay, these parents aren't professional. They don't go 2 to 6 years of schooling to understand their children. They can't afford to do that. They don't have the time, they don't have the money to go 2 to 6 years so they can properly understand the term spectrum. Okay, and so, go ahead.
If I may say too, for me, I heard earlier, and I was taking really into that idea, I understand it is paradoxical, you can't deny that, but the spectrum aspect helped me.
Right.
Because I was just diagnosed, but we've been dealing with this for almost 2+ years.
Yeah.
So I've been accepting that, the fact that I'm autistic.
Yeah.
But the thing is about the spectrum for me, which helped me, which I don't decry, is the fact that it allows me to understand where it's so broad.
Yeah.
What it does, it helps to not just put us all in one place.
Yeah.
We're all part of that spectrum, different aspects.
Well, keep in mind your wife's also a professional. She's a counselor that's worked with developmental disabilities or whatever they call it now. So anyways, whatever new terminology that they're now using. But anyways,
For my husband, he never fit, which is why it took so long to get the diagnosis. He didn't fit the textbook.
Yeah.
So because I knew a lot, and it wasn't that I wouldn't have studied, it just kind of fell in my lap.
Yeah, and that's the thing is you already knew a lot. Yeah, you understand 1,000 times more than the average parent does because you study it academically and have professional experience. So you have the kind of understanding that the average parent on Facebook doesn't have.
True. See, I fell into it because I have an oldest daughter that has ADHD. So I understand the learning differences from a parent's perspective before I became the professional.
Okay.
And that's how I was able to figure him out.
So,
but it's piecing together is what most people have problems with.
And that's the spectrum part that helps me because I understand the low function, I understand how function. We're all autistic, but it does help to be able to classify where you are, and then at the same time realize where others are.
Yeah, and it's one of those things, what actually works for you.
Exactly.
Okay, so I'm not going to, to get people to change their terminology that's working for them, but if they're using their understanding of this terminology to bash me and to claim that I don't understand this, I don't understand that, then I'm going to take exception to that.
Yeah.
Because I know exactly what it's like to have bowel control issues. To have a change of underwear kept in the counselor's office. So if I have an accident, I could, change and not stink up the classroom for the entire day.
Yeah.
I know exactly what that's like.
Yeah, so you don't back and educate.
Yeah.
That's what
You are saying bowel, right? Is it V or bowel?
Bowel.
Bowel.
Oh, sorry, bowel.
Okay.
So soiling my pants. And so.
I was like, is he saying bowel?
So anyway, all right. So basically, the different areas that's issues that can be affected by autism, and I think some slides got knocked out of here. Sensory processing is not okay. Okay, something I moved up with slides. Oh well. Okay, so sensory processing issues. Okay. hypersensitivity to stress and emotions, stimming, seizures, ADHD, Tourette Syndrome, delays and/or impaired language development, delays and/or impaired social developments, impaired executive functioning, impaired motor skills, impaired hand-eye coordination, that's me, hypersensitivity to medications, and when you're just running through this list, without understanding, the basic knowledge I just presented, people think that I'm just making excuses, that I'm just throwing every conceivable thing under the sun because they don't see the connection between all these issues. These all seem like such diverse issues, but you need to understand the common denominator is neuroconnectivity, okay? That's the common denominator for every single one of these issues, is that we have atypical neuroconnectivity, and it's going to vary from autistic to autistic, but this is the common denominator. Okay, brain plasticity, okay. The brain of every life form on Earth is constantly changing, enabling them to adapt in both positive and negative ways. This provides us with a scientific basis to believe that some areas which autistics Aspies struggle with may self-correct or be modifiable. Okay, and this is very important when understanding social skills, because okay, as an 8-year-old, I failed. But when I was 28, I was a completely different neurological individual. And 38, more changes. And this is the thing that is absolutely missing from the understanding of autism, is just because the autistic has these problems, that doesn't mean that they won't eventually develop more neuroconnectivity in order to improve in these areas. It doesn't mean that the issue is going to completely go away, but they may acquire the specific skills necessary to develop social skills, and we're actually going to be going into that next month when we're talking about the stages of social development and understanding that autistics are simply delayed in going through these stages, this is critical, because what I see happening is these autistics, my fellow autistics, are assuming that because they couldn't socialize when they were 8, then of course they can't do it at 28. And I've actually challenged a bunch of them. Do you dare to give yourself a section? And not just them, but also their peers are completely different. Okay, and understanding this, and again, I'm going to be going into this much more detail next month. We're talking about the stages of social development. Is that we're dealing with, you're a completely different person, and the people you're dealing with are completely different. Okay, and this gives us the compass. Now, as somebody who's 48, my brain plasticity has gone over the hill and is now in the degenerative stage, which every human being goes through. I am not in, there's a lot of things I can't do now at 48 that I could do at 28 and 38. It's, physically, mentally, that's just life. That's not autism, that is being a human being. Okay? And so, go ahead.
Now, doesn't the environment also help the development of the person on the spectrum? As a man who's 48, he found out through going through his childhood that his parents actually noticed something different when he was 3. I mean, from 3 to 10. Mm-hmm. But nothing was done. Yeah. And it wasn't until he married me that I realized, okay, there's something different. And it took the support system, because he's been he works for Apple. He worked there for 12 years. So every doctor went to him and said, well, you don't seem autistic. Right. But the difference was we had to recreate a lifestyle that enabled him to, number one, be okay with the disorders. Because it's not just autism. There's other things under that covering that come with autism. Yeah. So when I say spectrum, he doesn't fit the criteria, so we did do a brain scan. Yeah. And it finally did confirm everything I've been, because we've been married 16 years. Yeah. So the idea was, how did I piece together? We had to piece together every disorder that came with autism. Right. So it's not just autistic, because I think
Yeah.
we are just wonderful people, but there are things that we had to piece apart.
Right.
Finally, and find the right doctor. And
Yeah.
so it's a big process. It's not
Yeah.
just, plain
And the problem that you're pointing out there, I don't know if you realize it or not, but you are pointing out, is that so when doctors are trying to diagnose an adult with autism, they're looking for how it affects children.
Exactly.
Okay, and so that they're looking for the issues to be as pronounced as they are with children, as they often are with children, and so with brain plasticity, doing its work, and we'll actually be getting into this a little bit later, but yes, that's one of the problems is that that the diagnostic criteria is based on how autism affects children.
Yes.
And so if you miss getting diagnosed as a child and you're an adult, it can be difficult to find somebody that understands the role of brain plasticity plays in diminishing some of these issues.
Yeah.
So, okay. So anyways, natural countermeasures. Okay. It is a well-known fact that someone who loses their sight will develop an increased sense of hearing. Okay, this concept is not just limited to the blind, but is also a well-known fact in so many other physical disabilities that their healthy part or parts of the body will compensate for the unhealthy or injured part. Not only do I believe that this gives us a basis to consider the possibility that the same principle may be at play, again, bad grammar here, may be at play for those with developmental disabilities, but I also believe that it can provide specific examples of its being a factor in the day-to-day lives of autistics and Aspies, and when I shared this with Dr. Woodruff, that this is actually a later addition to my material, he said this is plausible. Okay, so I'm not going to say that that science has absolutely proven this, but based on on our overall understanding about how human beings work, okay, if one part of your body doesn't work as well, other parts will step up, and I will be getting into that a little bit, okay. And so we don't have sound. This is such a great video that I can't get the sound to work. Okay, so anyways, all right. Okay, other neurological issues. Autistic neurological issues. The autism shared struggles with dementia. Again, Dr. Woodruff, does work as a neurologist, works with geriatric patients, and so when he got involved with our communities, he started reading what his colleagues wrote about autism, and he noticed that there were some similarities. After reviewing the medical literature, Dr. Woodruff noticed some similarities in how autism and dementia affect the frontal lobes of the brain. This commonality does open the door to the possibility that autism and the autism and dementia communities could mutually benefit from each other's research and treatments. However, okay, well, we're not talking about medication. Well, there's some parents, there's some doctors who are actually prescribing anti-dementia medications to autistic children in order to help them in the areas of executive function. I'll explain what that is later. Dr. Woodruff absolutely would refuse to do that because these medications have such severe side effects that they should only be used if the patient without them is in such misery that the side effects are not nearly as bad as what the patient is experiencing. And I actually came across this this news article that's the local news station, interviewed, these parents who were testifying about, oh, how great it was for their autistic child. And I showed it to Dr. Woodruff. He's like, there is no way that he could in good conscience prescribe dementia medications to autistics, period. He doesn't care what benefits they're going to get. The side effects are just too severe. There's absolutely no way that he would do it. But again, we'll be talking about executive functioning, later, and so okay. And so then the other next thing is adults need to eventually have to ask themselves a question as we're getting older: is this my autism getting worse, or am I dealing with the natural progression of aging? The answer on both accounts might be might be both. Okay, and I'm actually going through a research project where every 2 years my brain is getting scanned to see how my brain develops. Because nobody's actually done a study. They've done studies on how the typical human brain develops over age. How the human brain ages, but specifically, does autism affect the aging process? And so I'm actually part of this study, and I was talking to Dr. Baxter about this, and she's saying that she's having some problems because a lot of these people that are coming to her, they think they're autistic, but when she runs the tests on them, they don't have autism. They have a type of dementia that mimics autism. Okay, and this is really important before you go and do a late diagnosis of somebody who's over the hill, like me. Can you show, like you mentioned earlier, can you show a history throughout their entire life of them struggling with these issues? I most certainly can. Okay, my issues are well documented, going all the way back to me being, a year and a half old. Me not saying my first word until I was 23 months old. Okay, so it is. So yeah. But there's no question, that the mind's well documented throughout the course of my life. But what's happening is a lot of these individuals, they're learning about autism, and they're trying to doing late diagnosis of their loved ones with autism, and it's like, well, have they always had these issues, or is this a late development? So, anyways, this is. Okay. Autism's connection to ADD, ADHD. Many Autistics, Aspies, myself included, have also been diagnosed with ADHD at some point in their lives. I was first diagnosed in my sophomore year of high school in 1986. I'm not exaggerating when I say that I believe at least half the autistic Aspies that I know have also been diagnosed with ADD, ADHD. Okay, the following is a complete list of attributes from the children and adults with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder website, and I didn't actually check to make sure this web page is still valid, because I found out in some of my other studies that some of these old links aren't still valid. Anyways,
I was a member of CHAD in Sacramento because before the Asperger's autistic, I was already diagnosed with ADHD.
Yeah.
And what I understand now about having both, both ends, is that a lot of the members there, participants who suffers, also had autism. Now,
Yeah.
I know it's not. So CHAD actually does have a connection to autism.
Yeah.
And they actually started having meetings on the side.
Yeah. My friend Tara Marshall, she's a speech-language pathology assistant and also an autistic. She's, one of the co-mentors that helped me understand myself. What she explained to me is, according to DSM-5 criteria, okay, an autism diagnosis kicks out ADD, ADHD, because basically, as I point out, everything, if you go, okay. If you go to this link, you'll find that virtually every autistic Aspies has most, if not all, of these same attributes to some extent. Okay, So you know, there's that much similarity, you know, so that's my understanding. What Tara told me is that today officially, you know, with your Asperger's diagnosis or autism diagnosis, whatever, you know that officially absorbs your ADD, ADHD, and so you just simply refer to yourself. Yeah, that's.
Yeah, I actually challenge you to go to YouTube and check out a specialist in this arena who works with both autism and ADHD.
Okay.
His name is Mark Hutton.
Yeah.
My wife found him. He actually broke down the difference between not just autism and ADHD, but he really went to the point of autism and narcissism. And he literally did a split, and you could see distinct difference.
Okay.
Not means that.
Yeah.
It's a matter of perception and also your history.
Yeah.
But it did make sense.
Yeah, and different professionals come up, you know, with different conclusions. Like I said, there's no such thing as unanimous opinion about anything. There's consensus opinion, but you know, there's going to be people who have different opinions. Some more quacks, but some of them just have a difference of opinion. And so, but basically, you know. Let me continue on next to Tourette Syndrome. Okay, I grew up having facial tics, a trademark attribute of Tourette's, where I would involuntarily raise my lip, basically do this, just involuntarily, okay, and touch my nose. I also have a high tolerance for pain, but a low tolerance for heat and cold. Should have had that in too. I did not do the research to learn this about myself until I noticed a significant percentage of the autistic Aspie adults that I knew also have prior diagnosis of Tourette's. Okay, the following list of attributes from the National Tourette Syndrome Association website, and basically the exact same point as I just made, you know, about ADD, ADHD. You'll find virtually every single attribute, you know, on the autism websites. Okay, and so as Dr. Woodruff says, are you a lumper or are you a splitter? Okay, are you going to lump them all together, or are you going to split them up individually? And I'm a lumper because I believe that they're, you know, we have such limited resources that we're better off pooling our resources. Instead of being three separate, you know, communities, you know, working separately to understand ourselves, to join forces, you know, sharing the money, sharing the understanding, sharing everything. In my opinion, we are better off, you know, doing that. Even if there are technical differences between the three, the similarities are such, you know, just like, you know, lower functioning versus higher functioning autistics, you know, me having certain issues, and another autistic not having those issues. In my opinion, I believe we're better off being lumpers and coming together and pooling our resources in order to, you know, to advance our understanding. But for those who want to be splitters, I understand, you know, and this is just my personal opinion. So, okay, impaired executive function. Okay. What is executive function? Okay, Sue Golubach is a now retired occupational therapist and autistic, and she's the other person that mentored me after I got my diagnosis. Okay, and so I was hearing all this stuff about executive functioning, and I was wanting a single sentence explanation of what is executive functioning. It's the brain's ability to control itself and the environment so as to accomplish its goals. Some aspects of executive functionings that autistics are notorious for struggling with include the ability to remember information long enough to do something with it. Okay, the ability to follow step-by-step procedures to plan and organize a task, to carry out complex instructions. Okay, the ability to organize one's materials or environment in order to find tools and information needed to perform the task. Remember when I first started, like, where did I put my remotes? That's being autistic, is I set it down, and yeah, and it seemed better when it's black, you set it down on a black backpack. Cool, great idea. So, anyways, so that is status quo for me, and and it always has been. Again, you know, that this isn't something that developed in the past 5, 10 years. This is something I single-handedly kept the hat and glove manufacturing in business with all the hats and gloves I lost growing up in Wyoming. You know, I lost hats and gloves. I'm serious. My mom probably had to buy 2 to 3 new pairs every school year. I was that bad, you know, and the ability to stop one's focus and shift to something else as required to complete tasks, okay, and this, you know, is something that's really detrimental in a lot of jobs, okay. The ability to control one's emotions in order to adapt when a task is not progressing as expected, okay, and so how do we compensate for this? Okay, and for me, you know, well, first of all, let's move on to memory's role in executive functioning. Okay, the subject of memory is far more complex than the use of the terms long-term and short-term memories. This is actually archaic terminology. What's that?
Do you have a date or a number, or when you're going to go next time, and I'll get it?
Yeah. It's the third Saturday of every month.
Third Saturday?
Every month, here at 2 o'clock.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and you can find it on the meetup page.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, thanks.
So.
He's on.
Okay. So, anyways, so the terms long-term and short-term memory is actually archaic terminology. Okay, there are probably at least a dozen different types of memory. Several different types of these memories tie directly into the subject of executive functioning. Understanding the role of memory plays in our day-to-day lives can help autistic Aspies develop countermeasures in our overall self-management strategy that may be needed to overcome deficits in executive functioning and bad grammar. This may also enable some autistic Aspies to eventually be weaned off of some of their needs for special accommodations. Okay, so first of all is working, intermediate or very short-term memory. These are all synonymous terms for the same thing. Okay, these are synonymous terms of what is actually a core aspect of executive functioning. Okay, and so when you're dealing with somebody with dementia or Alzheimer's, you know, that they can remember what happened 50 years ago, but they can't remember that their kids just showed up 5 minutes ago. Okay, how can that be? Well, because these are completely different areas of the brain. Okay, you know, short-term memory, the ability to remember that somebody just came to visit you. Okay, that's actually a part of executive function. Your ability to organize yourself. Okay, you know, because if you're going to be organized, you have to remember. Okay, these people are here. I have to deal with them, and you know, that's part of being organized. Okay, and so examples. I really need to update these examples. Keeping a phone number in your head long enough to dial it, and then promptly forget it afterwards. I don't even know what my mom's phone number is because it's in my contact list, and I don't even know I can't even tell you my mom's phone number. But anyways, these examples are kind of archaic.
You can lose it. I had to put it over here so you don't lose it.
Okay. Manipulating numbers in your head to do math problems. Remembering what step you're on when carrying out a multi-step task. Okay. You know, and so these are examples of executive functioning, and it's also an example of short-term memory. Well, anyways, so yes, these are the specific areas of memory that your executive functioning is actually responsible for. Well, I cut that video off mid-sentence because within a minute or two,
everybody there, pretty much had to leave because they had to get to work and stuff like that. So next month, I'm going to start the meeting an hour earlier at 1 o'clock instead of 2. So anyways, and I'm also going to redo the section on executive functioning because I feel I didn't really do that good of a job as far as pointing out the specific social skills issues at play when we're talking about these executive functioning issues. I am basically using the same set of slides with a few modifications that I use when talking about autism in general, and I will adjust, a little here and there, to tailor to my specific subject, like I did last year talking about the occupational struggles of autistics. I used basically the same set of slides with a few adjustments, but what occurred to me is for social skills, I'm going to have to completely overhaul this section in order to actually deal with the social skills issues that tie into executive functioning. And so, so I'll be doing that next month. But as far as this month, all in all, there's still good information on here. It's all good information. It's just not quite as relevant to the subject as I intended it to be. And also, I do want to point out that I had a really good exchange with a couple there. One of them was the professional. I forget what her name is off the top of my head. But anyways, working with special ed children, and it really goes to show that I can have constructive dialogue with those who actually engage in dialogue with me. And I bring this up because I am a pariah here in Phoenix because of the fact that I have been speaking out against the status quo, and the status quo basically has this attitude that they don't need to talk to us, and everybody's rallying around them because we have to defend the system even though the system's broke. And what I clearly demonstrated with this couple is that I can dialogue with people over with opposing viewpoints, with differing viewpoints on things, and this is what we need. We need the kind of exchange that I was having with this couple, that the wife that was the special ed's teacher or professional, I forget exactly, counselor is what she said, and then her husband who just got diagnosed. This is the kind of dialogue that we have, and I've been calling for, and so this is what we need to do. This is a prime example of what happens when people with different viewpoints are allowed to share those differing viewpoints in an autism meeting, instead of just simply inviting the people running the organizations to do a propaganda speech, and when somebody says, oh, my experiences with your organization aren't, that's not consistent with my experiences with your organization, they're like, oh, just that was a bad apple. Bad apple. No, it's not bad apple. Okay, these are systemic problems. Okay, and the only way we're going to deal with these systemic problems is to have the kind of dialogue that you just witnessed me having with this couple that came to my group this last month, where we shared differing viewpoints and respected each other. Perspective on those viewpoints. Okay, that is how we're going to solve the problems, not by suppressing free speech, not by not allowing autistics to come and say what they want to say and give their point of view on these subjects. Okay, and so that's all I have to say for now. So so I look forward to the July meeting, when I'm going to do the kind of job that I intended to do in June on the subject of the social skills issues involved with executive functioning. So until then, thank you.